Wilson back again today, and I'm going to be showing you a card made with one of our new backgrounds. It's got a beautiful debossed feature to it, so it's very soft, almost a misty look to it. The dies that we'll be using today include the Greek Island Collection background. This is the star of the card, and all of this around here is a debossed feature, and the die is made in two pieces, so it's easy to cut. We're going to be doing our sentiment on the pierced flags, and we're going to use the trailing ivy to kind of accentuate our little floral element. The sentiment comes from our new clear set called Delightful Sentiments. Okay, to start with, I've got a piece of white coconut card, and I'm going to be using the background first. Now this trellis portion here comes out and it cuts, so we're going to do that first. I'm just going to lay that on there and grab my removable tape, tape that into place, and we'll do some cutting. Run that through the grand caliper, but this will work in any of your manual die cutting machines or your electronic machines. And see, it's just completely come out there for you. So you've got all those little pieces. We'll just knock those into the rubbish bin. And next, we're going to put the debossed section around it and run it through with our embossing mat. So it fits right back into place like that. I'm going to tape that so it keeps it nice and straight. Let me just line that up. There we go. Oh, a little bit more that way. Pop that in there. There it is. And top that with our base plate. I'm going to run that through. Let's see how it looks now. I'll just take this apart gently with the tape. Let me get a hold of that. Your removable tape is perfect for holding your dies into place, but you do still have to be a little bit gentle when you remove it. You don't want to rip your card. So let me take this one off, and that last little guy right there. Okay, pop that back onto our magnetic sheet so we don't lose it. There we go. Okay, so show you what we've got there. Beautiful debossed feature into your background, showing the ivy with the trellis right in the middle. Okay, so next thing what I'm going to do is use some distress ink. I've got the Forest Moss, and I'm going to use a little bit of cut and dry here. And I'm just going to bring up this debossed feature, the light inking around it. And you can do this to any depth that you want. If you wanted a darker green, you can have, add extra layers or do it a little deeper. Totally up to you. If you do a light coat across the top, your ivy will stay debossed and your ink will touch the top of that and show off the relief. There we go. And I always recommend trimming afterwards so you can get it nice and straight. So don't worry about that until you're done. A little bit more, and we'll actually even put a little bit onto our trellis there. Okay. Bring it around. And you can just keep working that until you're happy with the color coding. And I'm going to trim around the edge so you can just see how beautiful that ivy shows up. Okay, I've done one ahead of time and I've trimmed it to size. I've put some mounting foam on the back. But what we want to do is put something underneath to show through the trellis. So I've taken a piece of coconut white card and I've covered it with a sticky adhesive sheet. And let me just find my copy paper here, get that all ready. And we're going to peel the backing up, exposing the adhesive. And I'm going to use some of the diamond sprinkles. This is a really pretty white glitter. Just pop that all into place along there. Pull the rest of that off. and glitter the whole card here. So you've got a really pretty shimmer. It doesn't have any interference color in it, so it's just a really nice, brilliant bling to your card. Okay, tidy this back up and put all the rest of it back in there so you don't waste it. Okay. Now, on the back of this, I've got some mounting foam, but because that's glitter, I still want to add some glue to it, so let me peel off the backing. Get the sticky part exposed. And I've done a couple little teeny ones right in the center where that trellis is, just to hold it up a tiny bit. A little bit of Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear glue on there. There we go. Oh, one more. Get those. There. Okay. Pop this into place. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it this direction. Okay, so I know I've got it on there properly. I'm going to give that a second to dry. And what I also wanted to do was I wanted to match that color with the mat on my card. And I didn't have a green that was the right color. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back in with the Forest Moss, go around the edge here on my backing card, and just bring that color straight back into the edge of my card. I'll just do a real quick job around the edge here. If you want to keep it really nice and smooth, you go over it a couple times and make sure that your cut and dry foam really will blend that color in nicely. That'll work. Okay, set that aside. And you probably want to give it a quick blast with your heat tool because the tape does not stick to it when it's wet. That should work. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pierced a background to mat with that. So I'm going to put a little bit of my double-sided tape on there, and I kind of will bring it in a tiny bit just so I don't hit too much of that wet area. There we go. I'm going to use that as a mat just right along the edge there. There we go. And this one can go right in the top of that, and I'll cover my little smudge there. And one more matte layer with a little bit of mounting foam, and we'll get the base of the card all sorted. There we go. Okay, so that is really pretty just by itself, but we're going to add a little sentiment and a little floral element to it too. So my sentiment is the best wishes, and I'm going to use the pierced flags here. And I'll cut that. A little bit of tape to hold it in place nicely. There we go. And bring in my cutting plate here. Give it a quick run through the caliber. Okay. And let's see if I can just pick up a little bit of the ink from my, don't know where it's gone off to. Oh, there it is. A little bit of the ink from my cut and dry I used, just to bring a little highlight in there. Keep it nice and light. Tiny bit more. There we go. That'll do it. Pop this one out. Put that back. So I've got just a real tiny light inking of the green across there. And I'm just going to use a piece of tape on the back of that. We'll mount it on flat. Okay, I'm going to put it right about there, and then we'll do a floral element to go with that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut a piece of felt, and I've glued it and cut it. So we're going to make a pretty little flower with this. I'm just going to use some Cosmic Shimmer Dry as Clear glue along the bottom. Make a nice little bead all the way down. Now, even though this is dry as clear glue, and I've said this a lot of times, I know it's felt, and felt will actually show when glue touches it. So you do have to be a little bit careful that way. So I'm going to try and get it started in the center here. Just give it a roll. Keep the glue away from the top of the flower. There we go. So I'm just going to keep rolling. And the little cut edges just come out and make a really pretty little flower there. Roll it all the way to the end and just hold it for a second and get that to stick on there. And then you can do a little bit of playing with it, but you've got a really pretty little felt flower that you've made. Okay, so we're going to put that on in a second. I've got some ivies that I've gone ahead and cut ahead of time. These are from the new Trailing Ivy. It's just beautiful. It's got a lovely debossed vein in the middle of that. So what I'm going to do is just use a little bit of glue, and I'm going to pop these into place around my sentiment. Let's put this one down a little lower. So you've got ivy on top of ivy. It's really nice. And we'll put a little on here, coming off about like that. Oops. And I'll have one coming off the top. About like that. There we go. And a piece of white tulle I'm going to go ahead and put on with a glue dot. Seat that in place, and we'll put our flower on top of that. The tulle just makes a lovely little, it's very light and delicate and looks really pretty with your flowers. And I'm going to try a couple of glue dots and see if that'll work on the bottom of this, and maybe a tiny bit of extra glue down here. Pop that into place. Give it a second to set up. There we go. Got a gorgeous little card, beautiful background showing off how pretty that debossed ivy is with the ivy feature on top. Really, really lovely. Hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you want to see more of my cards, go to my blog. It's www.partycraft.blogspot.com.